Welcome. This is Brenda Lainof of brendalainof.com. Work with a lot of different healing modalities, and I'm really excited today because we're going to be talking to Ellen Cox of the UK. Now, Alan's going to be talking about a labyrinth, and before we get into that, he's going to be telling us and how he got guided to working with a labyrinth. Now, if you've never and had an experience of working with a labyrinth, I'm going to suggest if there's a labyrinth nearby in your city or town, I'm going to suggest go walk in a labyrinth. I really didn't have any experience with it until, well, I guess it was many years ago in this little town that I was living at in British Columbia, and there was a labyrinth, and I really didn't understand it. And so I really didn't spend any time, but then I have been a few other places where they've had them. And of course, Alan sent his labyrinth to me, which I've been really having fun playing with it. So it's a handheld one, and Alan will get into that and how it works and how he came across it, etc. So welcome, Alan.
Thank you.
So, okay, so tell us for at the very beginning. Now, I'm just going to mention here that Alan is the creator and co-author of the balance procedure techniques. And let's know, Alan, just very, about that balance procedure, which I do have, you guys. I've had these cards for so many years, and I'm so excited how I can use this with conjunction of my labyrinth. But let's let you talk here, Alan, to talk about the balance procedure, what has happened, and then of course, and my condolences to you. You know, you're passing of Jenny in
Mhm.
2022. But anyways, just go ahead, please, and if you could
Okay.
just talk
Okay.
about it. Okay.
Well, it's a bit of a long journey, but back in around about just before in the late 2000s, Jenny got very interested in spirituality, meditation, and all this kind of thing. I'm a busy taxi driver at the time. Our children are pretty well grown up, and I was beginning to feel a bit left behind, to be truthful, And I thought, so she started saying, "Well, come and join the journey," what she was on. So I tried meditating with her, and I didn't get. I mean, I'm a bit of a cynic back in them days, and you know, it has to be proven to me to work, and I was very, very cynical. So it took a while, and we had a tandem push bike. You have two people on a push bike. You know what a tandem push bike is? Yeah. So we had a tandem. We used to go out in the countryside, and Jenny had been reading about labyrinths, and there was one about 15 miles from where we lived. So off we pedaled with our lunch, and we found it. And I'm sitting there looking at this grassy field with this squiggly thing in the middle of it. I thought, yeah, okay, I'm sure this is going to be something else. Anyway, she said, what we'll do, we'll walk through, let's have a go. And immediately I got a massive boost out of it. And that was one of the many things we started doing, walking labyrinths. She's also got me taking courses with her. Be Set Free Fast was one of them. Emotional Freedom Technique was another. And there was one after the other. We seemed to be doing them on a monthly basis. And it came to, we were affiliated to a insurance company here in the UK called the Federation of Holistic Therapists. And they had booked Jenny and me, because we were partners in everything we did. And they wanted us to go around the country teaching EFT. And we were just about developing the balance procedure at the same time. So when we were going around teaching EFT, we went to Glasgow, we flew up to Glasgow, we flew up to Edinburgh, we flew off to Belfast, we flew over to Dublin. So we had a wonderful time. We were like film stars, you're getting flown and taxis to the hotel and everything paid for. It was a wonderful feeling. We were doing that for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And towards the end of it, we couldn't stop teaching the balance procedure because we were finding EFT was so, oh, it was getting left behind, to be honest. So the idea with the balance procedures is that you focus on the future, what you want, rather than what's wrong. Whereas in them days, EFT was very much find the cause, find it, go into your subconscious and find what's wrong and that sort of thing. And we were saying, no, I don't like that. I want it to be facing forward. So that's what we started doing. And we developed the cards, as you showed earlier on. And we wrote our book, explanatory book. And that was in 2008. And we've sold about 30,000 copies of them worldwide over the years. So it's not a small thing anymore, but we've never been great at advertising ourselves. Especially Jenny did not like doing that part of it. She really, really just wanted to be word of mouth, let it go, and just trust the universe. And we were very successful for quite a number of years until, like a lot of things, lockdowns and the rest of it came in. It was difficult to get people, but she was doing them online, like the Zoom calls, and one at a time. Instead of previously we had like 25, 35 people in a room. We were doing big workshops, live workshops, and that's the way the balance procedure is best taught, to be honest. The energy in the room is fantastic when you do it like that. I suppose it's the same with most things, but we're happy to do it on Zoom now. I still do the occasional workshop, and but I say it's gone a bit quiet. Zoom's knocked us for six, but lockdown knocked us for six. So we're rebuilding it. But what I did notice when I started, after Jenny passed in 2022, I started doing a few mind, body, spirit fairs. You have them over there as well, I suppose. Yeah, where you go along to a place where people have a stall and card readers, or
yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah, well, I was doing quite a few of those, and it was after lockdown 2023, and I kept finding people. My big thing was somebody come up to the stall, and I was to go, what is it you want to do? What's your dream, what's your passion? And then when you get an energetic feel for somebody, you can get the cards out, you can start working with them, and it's very, very involved very, very quickly, and it works really quickly. But I kept finding people saying, what is it you want to do? And they were, I don't know. And it wasn't just one. I usually always get you always got the odd one, but it was like everybody. I don't know what to do. I've lost the ability to think. I don't know where I'm going. I've got no idea. And it was like really, everybody was flatlined. And it's not easy when you're flatlined to sort of try to find something you want to do and trying to get excited about the future, because all you want to do is just don't change anything. Just leave me. I'm fine. I'll look what you're doing, and I'll look at something else, and I'll just roll forward. And it was all very, very flatlined. And I found it very disturbing. And I didn't like it, to be honest, So I was remembering the labyrinth we used to walk on, and we've done when we used to go out on workshops, etc., around the country. We often would find the nearest labyrinth and go walk a labyrinth, and it was a thing we always did. And the one locally was one of our favourite cycle routes, there and back, and having lunch by the labyrinth. That was a regular thing we used to do in the summer. So I always had and I started doing a few of them after Jenny passed, and I was getting, I hate to say it, but I was getting sort of messages. I thought, I hate saying that. It's the wrong thing. I got inspired. Yeah, I got inspired to do something. So I started thinking about adding the balance procedure symbols, the squares, and all the other ones. I'll show you in the book. All the symbols here onto the outside of the labyrinth, and I made this card one. Well, that's my second attempt, but this is the first one I came up with, was the card, and this is what I sell online for. I think it's about $4, maybe $5 in your money, and I haven't quite mastered the one I sent you, so I'm still keeping them a little bit under wraps, as it were. I've got a new guy working on them as we speak. But yes, having the symbols on the outside of the labyrinth. Now, I don't know, do everybody know what labyrinths are, or is it a new concept with people walking a labyrinth?
To be honest, probably just to explain a labyrinth for a few minutes, because maybe people watching the replay, they're not too sure what a labyrinth
Okay.
is. And
Okay.
yes, please.
Well, then normally, if they're usually in a field or in a cathedral. There's a famous one in France in Chartres. There's a couple in cathedrals in England. I've been to one in a town called Wakefield. They've got one there, but they're all over the place. And they're usually on ley lines, or they're on holy ground. I mean, you go to the one in Glastonbury. That's on the there's one there as well. So they are everywhere, and they're about the same size as half a tennis court. So you walk in at the beginning of them, and you follow the path round to the centre, and then you follow the path back out again on the same way and come out again. So you go in with your problem, your issue, your thought. You bring your thought in with you. You go around the labyrinth one way to the centre, and then back out again the other way and come out. So at the middle, you reflect on what it was you're concerned about, and then as you leave your problems behind. Now, they've been around in Great Britain since the 11th century. They used to put them in fairs, FAI, fairs, village fetes, things like that. Kids would play on them, and they'd be used for spiritual things as well. People all over the world, different cultures, have handheld ones that use like rosary beads. They constantly playing, working with them. So they lift you somehow. They make you feel relaxed, and especially with the cards. So when you go into this labyrinth, for instance, the balance labyrinth, as you go, your finger goes on the outside. You get level to the symbols. What you do there, you take a breath, and you think of the word balanced for the anchor word, and you move to the next one, and you do a breath and balance, and you go all the way around on the going in, and the same thing all the way around on the outside ones going out. That's how it works. So you do 18 breaths and say the word balance, and that's really very powerful. That's like the combination of the balance procedure and the power of the labyrinth, and it starts shifting you. And what I was saying to you about these people who have the flat line and going on, they can't think what they want. I used to get them in the mind, body, spirit fair when I first started experimenting with this. I said, I used to have 2 chairs. I said, just sit beside me, if you don't mind. Get your card, put it on your lap, and then just follow what the instructions I've just given you there. And I'd come back to them. I'll be working with other people and, doing other things. And I'd come back to them in 10, 15 minutes. How do you feel now? And they go, I just feel different. Something's lifted. So it was showing me that it was working. And then I could get them back to the cards and the balance procedure. Have you thought of something you want to do now? And they say, yes, I want to get a new relationship, or I'm looking for a new job, or this or whatever. And then you could go back to the balance procedure and just move forward with that. So it was a good way of clearing blockages that they didn't even know they had.
Well, I just want to tell you, we haven't spoken about this since I've received your labyrinth, and I was so excited. So when I thought, oh my goodness, firstly, all the way from the UK here in Canada, I was just like, it was like Christmas. So I put it on my computer desk. Honestly, Alan, I could feel energy from this. Like it was almost like right away. I was like, well, this is cool. So because I have been working with the cards for years in the past, and with the fact that like I'm taking people and I'm taking them with those thoughts, and I'd like you to get into the feelings, but what you call shadow memories.
Yes.
So can you explain the shadow memories that are releasing and clearing when you're in the labyrinth?
Well, you're also clearing them with the balance procedure, but
Yes.
more individual ones, if you know. Now, let me explain. If like I said to you before, when you say to somebody, "What do you want to do?" Now, as an example, somebody wants to make a speech, so they come to me, or they say to themselves, "I want to make a speech." So they get their cards, and the idea of the balance procedure, you put your cards on your heart center, or we call it a balance center. You stand up and you picture what you want in your head. So in the case of wanting to make a speech, I want to stand in front of an audience. I want to stand there, be confident. I know what I'm talking about. I've studied my subject. I'm very confident, and I want to be successful in making this speech. Now, if you get drawn back, then your subconscious thoughts are pulling you back from achieving what you want, i.e., making that speech. Now, this particular going back subconscious thought could be something you've picked up as a child from school, from debating societies, from putting your hand up in class, getting the question wrong. It could be thousands of different things, but it's something come up because it's showing you by your balancing, pulling you back away from what you want. That's telling us, or telling yourself, that I'm not in tune with my thoughts. So what you do then, you put your two hands like so on your heart center, you breathe, and as you release your breath, you say balance or think balance, and you breathe out. And you'll often just straight away start moving towards what you want. And then you'll be able to make your speech, etc., or whatever it is you're looking to do. But as you mentioned, the shadow memories, what's happened is a chunk of those shadow memories have been cleared just by you doing the balance procedure. It's because you've got a picture of what you want to do, all the related negative thoughts about making that speech will come to the fore. And when you do your breathing exercise and you do the balancing on them, they will go away. And I call those shadow memories. And to me, how I explain that is that you pick up good shadow memories and not so good shadow memories. So I call them like a clear lens are your good ones, and a dark lens are the not so good ones. So the little things you pick up. I had a terrible stammer as a child. So I remembered when I first started, because I had to write with my right hand instead of my left hand. And when I started school at 7, when I come over from Ireland to Coventry, where I was living at the time, the teacher slapped me across the knuckles with a ruler. We don't write with our left hands in this country, boy. Write with your right hand, something like that, and in that sort of line. Well, that stuck with me. And that would be a big, solid, dark shadow memory for me. That would be in the dark lenses. And there'd be other things on top of that. Little boys should be seen and not heard. I don't know. You know, and there's so many, isn't there? You know, it's like you build them up. But at the same time, your clear lenses would be being in a supportive family, doing well at school, having good teachers, learning things. So they'd be like, hopefully 50-50. And then as you look through them, when things come, when you're doing anything, your subconscious minds will look through these shadow memories, both clear and not and dark, and your behavior will come from that. But if you're tending to be in the dark side too often, which a lot of people are, then you find yourself stuck on everything. You can't do this, you can't do that. People like me can't do this. So you have these negative things going on all the time. And you can't always tell what they are. And I'll tell you an example of that was, well, again, I was doing a mind, body, spirit affair, and I was watching somebody doing it. Have you heard of havening? When you rub the skin, this one, it comes from EFT again. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
Well, I was watching a demonstration of havening, and he had this young lady up, and he was chap doing the demonstration, and I've done demonstrations in front of people, and it's nothing worse when you get a subject who's not responding. I think, have you done the same sort of thing? You get somebody who's not responding, and you think, it's the last thing you want, somebody who's going to engage.
Yes.
Yes. This woman wasn't having any of it. She said, can't say anything. He was saying, can you look back in your past and find something that could be stopping you achieving what you want to be, sort of thing. And she came up with, my husband committed suicide. I mean, the whole room went, and you think, that's got to be it. What else can it be? That's got to be the most serious thing that's happened to her. It was only a few years ago. My husband committed suicide. He said, well, that must be why you're stuck on this. So she was going through like NLP, trying to find ways of getting past this stuckness and all that. Anyway, it didn't really work out. The lady sat down disappointed, and he got another subject up, and it went better. And I watched it for about half an hour or so. So the rest of the day, I'm back on my stall, and this lady walks into me. So I said, I was seeing you earlier on, and this is what I'm saying about trawling the past, trying to find things to fix. Most techniques do that, and you get it so wrong. I mean, you'd have thought that suicide would have to be the thing that's wrong with this woman, wouldn't you? You know, it's a big thing like that must be the thing that's bothering her. She came up to me on my stall, and she said, I said, it's not that, was it? I said, it was nothing to do with the suicide. She goes, no. And for some reason, I just felt it was her daughter. And I mentioned her daughter, and she floods of tears. She said, you're right, we were having a terrible time. And all. So I gave her the book and cards. We worked through the daughter thing and put it, it's just, well, how do I put it then? Yeah, equal adult relationship with my daughter. That's what it was. She wanted an equal adult relationship with her daughter. So she balanced on that, started moving forward, felt better, took the cards away and the book away. I said, let me know how you get on. And she wrote back to me in an email about a week or so later. Me and my daughter are best friends again. Everything's wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But if you'd have heard about the suicide and any other technique, you would focus on that, because that would seem the shadow memory that's given her the most problems, and it wasn't. And that's why I don't like going into the past, because you're never sure what it is.
Right.
It could be. You see what I mean?
Well, Alan, can I ask you, do you find, I mean, I believe that we can absorb other people's shadow memories, and there can be ancestral shadow memories as well. So every time that you're going through on the labyrinth, and every time I go across these symbols, and I'm doing this without even the person knowing what symbol I'm going to, and they're going, okay, not balanced, now I'm balanced. So you could be picking up on absorbed, shared, generational, ancestral, out of the world dimensions. It's just like it's infinite of what we could be picking up on. And so I love the term that I believe you coined, shadow memories.
Exactly.
I really like that. It really resonated. And I think we're at the time now, we want things simple. Yes, we can go down the rabbit hole, and sometimes I find in my own work I need to, that it's subconscious saying, no, I need to, go down that. But for the most part, we're tired. We just want to feel better, create the day, and whatever that is. And it's been fun. As I say, I have been literally with mine, I'm going to a symbol. The person doesn't know what I'm looking at, and I'm having them think of that particular emotion of abandonment or betrayal, whatever it is. And then I'm going to have them say, are you in balance with this? And then they're already know how to muscle test, and they're going, yes, I know I'm in balance. And they can't even think of the issue at the end of the time that I've gone through the labyrinth. So I'm finding it very powerful.
Yeah. I would suggest possibly on the cards in the book.
Yes, the book.
Every chapter has got, every card has got its own chapter.
Right.
So to me, what I'd be fair to do then, go into, like you just said, things like abandonment and all that, rather than go for the negative. And this is always the thing that I like to say to people. Go for the positive.
Yes.
Get somebody comes in front of you, ask them their numerology. Let's go. Keep it really simple. I don't know where your one is. So let's go for your personal year. I don't let them ask anybody's name. So your personal year and your last birthday. What was that? Sorry. What's your last date of your last birthday? Was it 2024? Your birthday?
Yes. It was 2024.
So it was last year. So let's the number. I've got to write the numbers down now. What's the first one? One's 1102.
Okay, so 0621.
06. That's yeah. What's the day?
June 21st.
So 21, 21st, 06. Yeah.
Yes.
2024.
Yes.
That's the date of your last birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. So we add up, write those numbers down. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 numbers written down. Now I add them up. 2
Yeah.
and 1 is 3, and 9 is 3, and 6 is 9. 2 is 11, 13. 13 and 4 is 17. 1 and 7 is 8.
Yes.
So you're in year 8 of your personal year number. So the first thing you need to get hold of then would be which card is your 8th card, which is
Part of transformation.
Yeah, that's the one. So you put that on top of your pack.
Yeah.
And you put it back in the box. So we're going to balance in a minute, but that's get yourself ready for it. That's what you do. You put that back in your box, and I'm going to balance with you. So of course, I'm getting my cards all messed up like I usually am. Yeah.
Do you find it more powerful when people do it as a group together?
Yes,
or
much,
not? Yes,
yeah.
I would think.
But you can do this when you say you're working remotely with people.
Yes,
you can do this as well. You don't.
Oh,
I know you like to douse, but this is another way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you go then to the book and the page of number 8, and then you look through here.
Yeah.
And it'll say personal year number 8. The number 8 personal year, this is you, and you're at the end of it now because your birthday's in a few weeks' time. Well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not far away. So that you're at the end of this now. The number 8 personal year is a time to focus on wealth and ways to increase it. So hopefully you've had a good year money-wise. You will get recognition for your prior years of performance in your year 8. So it's a looking back over the course of your year. Hopefully you were successful, and you're looking at you're beginning to get recognition for what you've been doing.
And
does that ring true?
Yes, it does. And for people to know, so we've mentioned a few things, the cards, but when you get the cards and the book, I'd say get the cards in the book and then the labyrinth, like have it all together, because
it's none of it's expensive. I mean, you can.
No, I know. Like I can't believe when I looked at it, I'm converting, I'm going, oh my gosh, that's just so ridiculously inexpensive. So each one of these, this is how I've been describing it. And let me know, Alan, if that's how I'm going. This is all these labyrinths, like when I've got these cards, but all of the energy of these cards are now within the symbols of the labyrinth, which is so cool. So that's that whole bringing it all together.
That's right. And let's go back to the shadow memories.
Oh, yes. Okay.
What I was getting to, like I say, with the cards, and I showed you how that person with the wanted to do the speech. So you did the cards, and you found out that cleared X number of shadow memories when she started coming forward on the thought of doing her speech. So the balance procedure cleared a good chunk of shadow memories. But what I'm getting at now is the shadow memories that you don't know what they are. Now, especially people with things like depression, people who are in deep grief, those sort of things. Now, you really can't get to that with anything. I don't know if you've had many people who've come to you with depression and things like that, especially the grief one. I've had a lot of that of late. And it's very, very difficult to make any inroads to it. So what I say to people, if they've got that going on, tell them about the shadow memories. And I say, well, the shadow memories are affecting you because you're in this grief feeling at the moment, or you're in this depression feeling at the moment. So you're being influenced, your view of the world, you're looking through your dark lens, and you're seeing nothing but darkness and depression around you. So those shadow memories are having a substantial effect on you. Now, what I say to them then, I want you then to get an emotion about how you feel about being affected by the shadow memories. That's all you need to have going on. How do you feel about that? Are you embarrassed about it? Does it make you angry? Are you frustrated? As long as you have some sort of feeling, that's all you need to bring into it. And when I said about walking the labyrinth, you bring in your problem. So you bring in the feeling you have about your anger, so frustration, embarrassment, whatever it may be, about the shadow memories affecting you. they're affecting you that badly, you're in this deep depression because you can't shift them. So that's where you get annoyed with. Then you have that feeling. How strong is it? 0 to 10. Is it an 8? Is it a 10? How do you feel about that? So you bring that in with a number and you walk through. Don't think about anything else. Just have the feeling. Walk in. As I said, when you get to the, you follow it round and you start here and you go this way. Cross that one and balance. Next card. Sorry, next symbol and balance. All the way around. And then you come back in the middle again and back out again, and you do it on the way back out again. All twice, or 18 times you're going to do that. Sit in the corner, give yourself 10, 15 minutes, give yourself a time to just chill out, turn your phones off, just sit back, do that. And then see how you feel about the feeling you brought in with you. How does that feel now? Has it diminished? And hopefully they'll say yes. And what happens also is that's taken a whole chunk of shadow memories away. Now, I don't know if they've taken one away or 1,001 away, but something's happened because you're feeling different about it. That feeling is shifted. So that's beginning to work. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. A thing like depression, it takes you quite a while to get into that position in the first place. It's not an overnight thing. So do it once or twice a day or once a day. Just sit back, but give yourself a good 15-minute chunk of time and just do it. And you'll be amazed how quickly it shifts. And I can't tell you, well, people have phoned me up and they've said, you know what, this thing that happened to me is gone. I feel this, and it's a wonderful feeling. I'd love to be able to, I don't know, again, I'm going to put this. I'd love more people to know about it. And I'd love people to say, let me try that. And absolutely. That's what I want to happen. That's what I really want to happen.
Can I ask you, Alan, because I was, on the back of these so people understand, like we have all these, like everything is related, the symbol, the color, chakra, number, zodiac, gemstone, planet influence, element, and physical.
Well, they call them the aspects. They're the aspects of the cards. So every card has 9 aspects. So
for example, on the one and the art of, I'm a visionary. I've used this in the past. I'm going, look at it, see if you're in balance. And people will go yes or no. They would get into balance. So that's how I've used it for years remotely. But if you go to, for example, the pituitary, and you're asking, is the pituitary happy? And say you go back, can you would it be as simple as let's making it simple? Balance, the pituitary. So it's working at an optimal level.
It works on the physical. Every one of them's got a physical as well.
So you can heal your body by balancing it, because this is just what I was telling somebody yesterday. I'm saying, doesn't it make sense? We're bringing the light in. We're bringing, all of the light in, that the dark can't exist. And so if we're bringing the light in to the whatever, physical aspect, the brain or whatever we're working on, can the dark exist? And I'm getting like, no. So then why can't we just bring in balance?
Well, it's all explained in the book. It really, this is a very little booklet or book, whatever you want to call it. But there's an awful lot of information in this. Now, rather than, it's like explaining the labyrinth. I explain that you walk in with your problem, you walk around the labyrinth, you walk back out again, and you come out of the labyrinth. Now, I've put in Google, how does a labyrinth work? And you get reams and reams of information. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people love all that, and that's fine. I don't. I just want to know, how's it going to work for me? And I go back to that first time, a complete cynic. We were going through this spell with my wife where I was getting jealous of what she was doing. I was missing out, so I was forcing myself to take part on all these different things. And that labyrinth was the light switch for me. I looked at this green thing, and the green grass with this squiggly thing round on it, and I thought, in my head, I'm going, God, here she goes. This is stupid. I really completely had no idea. And I'll tell you what, I did it the first time, and I had a massive shift. And I've been doing it every time I go on that labyrinth. I have a massive. I bring the cards with me usually, and I just go as I walk around it, and it shifts tons and tons of stuff. And I
Well,
loved it. I love the physical walking them, but if you
yeah.
obviously not everybody can do that. So having the handheld ones, or the
Mhm.
it works as good. But
It's great. I love it.
I
Really
want
love
to. I
it.
really want to get more of them made. And I really want to get them out
Hmm.
because they are the feel of that is lovely.
It
I'd have one in my
is.
pocket. It's just lovely to feel it.
I didn't realize there's such a thing as the handheld ones.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
was surprised. Yeah,
so I want to tell you that I heard your interview with this lady in the UK, and
yeah.
you've lost Jenny 2022. It was a shock. I mean,
That's right.
I took a level with you. You got many years ago, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, watched all of the YouTubes. And if you go to thebalanceprocedure.com, you're going
Yeah.
to see all sorts of YouTubes and information. And
Yeah.
Jenny's there, and she's using it as way, all of that. And
I
I've
always say Jenny is the best at delivering the balance procedure.
Oh,
She's
shoot, but
really
yeah,
the
just
best.
such a good
Yeah,
good
and you'll
soul.
just and it just comes out on the videos we've got show that. I mean,
Well,
obviously
and
she's not. I can't. She's not here anymore. But the balance procedure works for everybody.
it does. But
You
what I
don't.
wanted to say, Alan, is that I really enjoyed hearing how you were able to, with all the grief that you were going
Mm,
through,
mm,
with how everything is just like how you were able to move through
mm.
this, and people might judge, well, it doesn't seem like you're grieving very much,
No,
Alan,
no, no,
but
no,
that wasn't the case. It was
no.
how you're balancing and
Well,
what
and
you've been
processing it as
doing,
well. I mean,
processing.
yeah, we when
Yeah.
Jenny was a celebrant, we did 250 funerals between us. I would
Mm.
write the eulogies, and then she would stand on the in the crematorium and give the eulogy. And we met the grieving families at the beginning, and we met them at the end of the after the service, and the tears, the people throwing themselves on the floor, and all sorts of different things going on. And we always had the conversation as we left the crematorium. I'd be
Right.
driving the car, and we'd be, well, I wouldn't have my funeral. I wouldn't do that in my funeral. And whatever happens, don't get those white horses for me. And I don't want any of those doves flying all over them. So we always had this sort of conversation. So it was the funeral, people dying to us was something we were very, very used to, like I
Right.
say. But there was one lady especially, I remember meeting her, 87. She lived in a small little village, and she'd been married for 60 odd years to her late husband, and we were doing his funeral. Lovely woman. And sometimes you meet some people sometimes, and you just get a real connection with her. Now, me and her got that, and we were just gone like a house on fire. We were just talking, and I said to her, "I'm amazed how calm you are when your husband of 65 years has now passed, and you just seem so calm." And she said, "I love my husband. She said, I love being married to him, so I can't get grieving or whatever you want to call it. I can't get angry and crying all over the place, because when I look back at my marriage, I've just got happy memories." And that's exactly how I felt when Jenny passed.
Hmm.
I wouldn't allow myself, or I didn't feel the need to go throwing myself about and crying. I'm telling everybody I was grieving, because I had a wonderful marriage,
Hmm.
and I loved every minute of our 48 years together. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to be that
No.
person, and it's wore off for me. The kids picked up the same theme from that, and my grandson the same. So
Mm.
the whole family felt the same thing. And we did have a passing for her. We had a direct funeral. That's getting to be a big thing in the UK now. Is that over the same over where you are?
Well, I
A
think so.
funeral without a
And
funeral without the ceremony.
well, without this, well, I have been to a few, and
Mm.
to me, I mean, I've already made it clear with my family, that's what I want, I just
Yeah, yeah. You say a
simple and
direct funeral. What happens is we have a direct funeral. The funeral director picks the person who's passed from wherever
Mhm.
they are, hospital, home, or wherever. They bring them to the creme, and then they
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
dealt with it, when I call it.
Yeah,
So then you get the ashes back. So you don't
yeah.
have you don't have the whole ceremony and all that. But what we did for Jenny, we had about a month or so later, I booked a big hall in a hotel, and we had about 200 people turn up, and
Yeah,
I wrote a eulogy for her. If you
nice.
want the eulogy, I'll send it to you. So I wrote a eulogy for her,
That's really, really
and
nice.
yeah, and it was good. I mean, everybody enjoyed it, and that's how it should be.
Right.
A celebration of somebody's life. You don't want to be sitting crying and all that. I mean,
Well,
you know,
and you're also celebrating her life by continuing and
of course,
expanding for
of
she was
course,
probably just like, oh, Ellen, that I
yeah.
mean, how if that's how it works, but if she's able to see or be with
Mm-hmm.
you and like
Oh
that's
yeah,
really, really,
I
really
believe,
nice.
I believe that. I believe this
Yeah,
guidance from the people who've passed, and
yes,
to be honest with you, if I'd like to die like she did. I mean, it's a hard one to take when you're on the other side of it, but when you're the person who dies, they die just in no pain. I mean,
right.
she sat in the hospital bed. They gave her a private room,
Hmm.
just because they did. That was like
Hmm.
Jenny always used to get whatever she wanted. Car parking spaces,
Whatever.
whatever. They just come to her naturally. So she went to hospital. I couldn't go in with her because of the COVID restrictions. So she went on her own. I went shopping. She phoned me, get my night gear and toothbrush, etc., and bring it to the hospital. They're taking me in. And we weren't at all worried. She was perfectly fine. And she's sitting there in the bed, all hooked up to these monitors, and the nurses are all sitting around. And she was doing the life path numbers and the personal years numbers for the nurses, and they were all telling their friends, and the nurses were coming in from all
Oh,
over the
wow.
board. And she's sitting there, and this is like, I left at 7. My daughter phoned at 7:30, and my son phoned at 5 to 8, and 8 o'clock she died. Three
Wow.
three nurses sitting on around her, and she's giving them their readings. And the
I love
nurse,
it.
she said, as she told me, she took a deep breath and just passed, and that was it,
Oh,
gone.
wow.
So I mean, honestly,
Wow.
if you have a choice, that would have been Jenny's choice, no doubt.
You
That would have
know,
been her choice.
I've had three close calls myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I if I'm or when I exit, that's what I want. It's
Exactly.
exactly that. I've already had my
Exactly.
cardiac arrest. I was
Mm-hmm.
shocked that I survived it. So
Mm-hmm.
if that was to happen, it'd be like, okay,
Yes.
and this is why we're doing what we're doing because
Exactly.
what else do we do? We've made it this far. And so it's just let's go for it, do what we
Mm-hmm.
can, keep
Yeah.
it simple and just heal. And I have to tell you what I did too. So I've been kind of working silently and working with it and going through with the symbols, and I can feel it in my body. I can feel it
Mm-hmm.
processing. And then I send the audio to the person afterwards, and they can feel it. So there was one practitioner that I sent this to, and she was really pleased because there's a lot of abuse energy in her system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if that can help her, and then she's going to get excited about it. And she may have already ordered a labyrinth from you, but if that helps her, then she can
Mm-hmm.
work with her groups and
That's
so
right.
forth.
That's right.
So yeah, that's what we
That's
do.
how I want to see it. That's how we've always visualized it going. And like I
Yeah.
say, it's been quite successful. There's no mean feat selling 30 self
No.
published books. I mean, it's a big deal. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoke to other people. I mean, I spoke to somebody who's done an Olympic gold medalist book,
Wow.
and he said he's only sold about 800.
That's
And
amazing.
and that's about the normal number. I mean,
Oh.
you ask anybody who's wrote a self help book, and they've got a garage full of them. You
Hmm.
know, you buy like 10,000 of them because it's cheaper to buy ten
Yeah.
thousand than 5,000. So,
Wow.
but no one sells any more than a few hundred, never. But like I
Hmm.
say, we've shifted about 30,000 of them, and we're
That's
quite proud. We're
amazing.
pretty proud about that. But
And
yeah,
so you
it's the
should
next
be.
step. It's just the next step now. I don't know what to do. To be honest, I mean, I don't know what to do apart
Well,
from what I do now. And I'm getting really inspired by people like yourself coming to me, and the lady
yes.
with the podcast, Louise.
Mhm.
That was lovely to be asked to do that with her, and I'd love to do this again. I
Well,
really I'm
I
beginning
think
to enjoy
so.
this now.
And I think so. And I think a lot of us all do energy work. So
Mm-hmm.
we're always excited about having something else come in because I get bored, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, okay, cool.
yeah,
This is something we can work with. And I do
exactly.
want things simple, for
Yeah,
the most
yeah,
part. Like I say, sometimes, yeah,
mm,
feel guided to go down that rabbit
yeah,
hole. But if we can, or even like I'm finding with this, okay, maybe there's another tool that's out there, and then then I work with it. So it's however that develops.
mhm,
Maybe there's a belief that I'm getting guided to. Oh, it's this belief that's held in
mhm.
the, okay, let's go and what that is, and what you want, and then bring it into the labyrinth.
Yeah. Well, what I like to do as well is, I just showed you your personal year number there. So that's
Hmm.
immediate conversation. You don't, when you say to somebody who comes
Oh,
to you,
right.
yeah, so somebody calls you up and they're having problems. Instead of you going into their problems, ask
Mm,
them what their personal year number is and then work it out before you
okay,
see them. Get their
perfect.
life path number and get their zodiac number, get their sign,
Okay. And
and
that's in the
and you've
that's
got,
in
yeah,
the
they're
book.
all little. And what we've done there, we've got a little a paragraph on each
Yes.
of those three things. So you've got three positives about that person.
Okay.
So you're a Leo, so this means this, this means that. You're also a number
Right.
two. You're born as a number two, and your life path's
Mhm.
a number. So you've got three things you can give them a positive
Mm,
before you even talk to them. You've got all that written down.
I think
Then
that's
you have then you have
perfect.
then you have your meeting. So rather than go into all this, what's
Yeah.
wrong, let's say, then you start
Yeah.
with what's right. Then you balance them on that. And how do you feel now
Right.
about yourself? And I
Perfect.
never realized I was this powerful, that sort of thing. That's where you want to be pitching it at, rather than
Okay.
the other side.
Okay.
Because and I,
I
and I
like it.
know and I know what you're doing, and it's not unusual what you do. I mean, a lot of people do the same thing, and it's hard not to, because you want to help people,
Right.
but
And our mind can be
but
like really
no one
scattered.
needs you. No one needs your help. They want your
Right.
guidance and they
The
want your
guidance.
assistance.
Well,
Exactly.
it's yes, their own self-healing. So
Yeah.
yes, the book, and I have the book, and I know you gave me, I must have the old version. You gave me the updated version because they're looking a bit different.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. And the whole
Mhm.
numerology. So that's actually a really good way to do
It's
it.
a
So yes,
much better way to work. And
let's
then
do
and
this
then you
again.
once you've got them feeling positive about things, then you can bring in, what are you doing? What are you looking to do next? And then you can look
Right.
on, and everything has to be where you want to go, what you want to do, how do you want to feel. And you've done NLP as well, haven't you? I believe, where you
Um,
do
Neuralistic?
neuro.
No,
No, yeah.
no,
Well,
not
it's a
that
lot of that.
particular,
There's a lot
but
of that in that,
oh,
where you
Aaron has.
picture. Yeah.
Okay, let's open this up for the next few minutes here we have, and then yeah, oh, ask any questions, Aaron or Susan,
Let's
and
get Aaron's
yeah,
numbers as well.
absolute. Okay, let's do
Aaron's
that for
personal
fun.
year.
Can
Yeah.
unmute Aaron.
Okay,
Okay.
Hello,
working
Aaron.
at it. Working at it.
What's your
Uh,
personal year? We want to work your personal year number. So I need your date
okay,
of your last birthday. Is it this
three,
year or last year?
3/7/25.
So the 3rd of the 7th.
No, oh wait, I do it backwards to you. Okay, the third month, the date is
7th,
the 7th.
the 7th of the 3rd, 2025.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's 1, 2. That's 6 numbers. So 7 and 3 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 5 is 19. 1 and 9 is 10. You're a 1.
Okay, that's what I was
You're in,
trying to figure out.
yeah, you're in personal year number 1. So this is where you're started, and you just started that this month.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, literally a few days ago. Yeah. So number 1. Let's have a look for number 1. So you go to the book, and that's number 2. So that's your chapter on number 1. Yeah.
Okay.
And your number 1 personal year, number 1, in the first year of a 9-year cycle. We live in 9-year cycles.
Okay.
So even if you're born as a number 6, the first 5 years were before you were born. So it's always a 9-year cycles. So your first year of the 9-year cycle, look for new opportunities, and it's an excellent time to start a new project. or have a new
Interesting.
approach to an existing one. Study, plan a career, keep active. This year creates the foundations for the next 9 years. So it's all about that sort of energy. Okay. I would say
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. I
new
appreciate it.
opportunities, new project, keep active. And this is the start of these foundations for the next 9 years. Because you're taking notes, don't you? You said you take notes.
That's what I'm doing.
I know, I can see that.
Yeah, I type them.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If somebody comes to you for a, and you want to assist them in whatever they've got going on in their lives, have that number, have their life path number and their zodiac. And there's 3 positive, and what I just read out to you was all into positive. So there'd be 3 different positives you can give somebody before you even start talking about anything else. So there's no need to go trawling into their past trying to find out what's wrong with them. Say, look, you're a positive person. You're a number 1. You're doing this. You see what I mean? You get that positivity.
I get that because of
much better way of working.
I have the NLP and the hypnosis background.
Exactly.
And that's how I got into energy work, because it wasn't working, shall we say, in my head.
Yeah. But I found even with the NLP, they were still trying to find things that were wrong.
Yeah, you're looking for, NLP is a spin-off of hypnosis, and is what is the root cause?
Exactly.
When was the first time you had an event that was similar?
Exactly.
And then you go back on the person, and you go back in their timeline, whether it's this time, this dimension, this what do you call
past lives.
Past lives. Thank you. That's where I was trying to get to.
But the thing is, though, you just by mentioning what you just mentioned there, how many shadow memories are going to be in that little lot? I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a rabbit hole. You're going down. As soon as you start going backwards, looking for something, you're going down the rabbit hole. So
I get that.
Far better going on with the positives. Like to say, you got 3 statements there you can give to somebody straight off the bat. You say, well, no, you're this, you're that, and you got it straight. And of course, that gives them a bit of, I feel good now about that. And then you can start working on what you want to do, where do you want to go.
What can I do? What can I do to move forward? That's
exactly,
really, because I have a coaching background too. What can I do to move myself forward?
Yeah. But a lot of the issues is because it's very easy to do the other way, and it can be fascinating as well when you do hear people's stories. You often want to hear them. I mean, you look at every speaker you see, if they haven't lived on the streets or they haven't done something like that, they're not worth booking, are they? Everybody you speak comes up with something, aren't they? And that's the trouble with me. I never lived on the streets, so I haven't got anything wrong with me. So that's what I'm saying. It's hard to be a public speaker without having something wrong with you. It's a crazy idea.
Yeah.
Well, no, there are ways, but a lot of our society does not want that.
That's
They're looking to identify with you.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, you guys were getting close to the end of the time. Oh, I know, this is so fun.
I'll be telling you.
Can I get mine done though? Can I get mine done?
Oh, hello.
Well,
I was like hoping.
okay, quick. We'll do it quick here for the next few minutes, and then I'm just on my Zoom to bomb out on me. So
Brenda, why don't you do it for Susan so you get good practice?
Well, no, I'll let Alan.
Oh, come on.
He's more prep. No, we'll let
Have you heard
Alan
of the
do.
balance procedure? But first of all, have you got this? What's the young lady called that we're talking to now?
Susan.
Have you got any of this yet? No.
No.
Well, it's not very expensive. It's probably a good thing to get. And and we have the balance labyrinth. So that's what we're talking mainly about, the balance labyrinth today. Have you ever walked a labyrinth?
Oh yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, that's basically what this is based on. And you walk a labyrinth, you walk in with your issue and round the labyrinth and back out again the same way. You remember doing that? Yeah. So what I've added on to that for my balanced labyrinth are these symbols on the outside. And these have all got energy, certain energies, symbols that have been around for centuries. And they're all explained in this little booklet, because we use symbols in my cards, my 9-card set. So I've pasted them along the outside.
I just want to add this for Susan's knowledge. You make a labyrinth using dowsing rods, because I've done that.
Oh, you actually made one?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, interesting, interesting. Yeah, they're normally on ley lines, aren't they, when you first put them down?
But,
well,
okay,
it's where it needs to go. That's all I know. Where the spirits tell me to put it. It was because we were doing it at the church I was going to.
I got you. Yeah.
I just kind of want it because it's time limited. I was hoping to maybe.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking mainly about, the labyrinth, how it works, how well it works. And I was saying I was finding a lot of people. I always say to people the first thing when I meet them, what is it you want to do? Where do you want to go? And have a positive outlook and see if you can get them to go that way rather than back in the past trying to find what's wrong with them.
No, I heard that.
Yeah, and that's why I like to use the labyrinth, because you can, if you've got a deep-rooted thing that you can't shift anyway, then to sit back with one of these and just take 15 minutes or so, just breathing exercises, relaxing, doing it, you'll find it just starts shifting stuff around inside your subconscious. We call them the shadow memories start getting rubbed out, if you like, or less.
Okay, I got a question though. Look, I'm afraid these numbers. The life path, is that your birthday? Like the numbers
life
all
path is your date, your birth. Yeah, date, your birth.
And what's the other name? That was the zodiac.
Personal year. Let's do your personal year. I want the date of your last birthday.
Oh, that's the one you're talking about. Okay. Yeah. Well, because I know there's also, if you do, okay, last birthday was May 16th of 2024.
So 16, May is 5, 2024.
So that's you use the last birthday as the personal year.
Yeah. It's the last rather than the next one. So 16, 1 and 6 is 7, plus 5 is 22, plus 2 is 24, 26, 30. 3 and 0 is a 3. So you're in your life path 3. You're just coming towards the end of your life path 3. And in our little booklet, we have every that's what this is your symbol for number 3. Yeah, the triangle.
Oh, the triangle.
Yeah, and in the chapter personal year 3, this is where you are on. You're just beginning to finish it now. The third year of your 9 years, because we live in 9-year cycles. The first year of your 9-year cycle is a time to expand and develop your creative talents. Is that something you'll be doing this year? Being creative? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You seek all forms of self-expression, especially those related to acting, the arts, and teaching. Do you find yourself, are you a teacher, or do you like?
I can be. I mean, sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be an official teacher, but you like teaching people things. Mm-hmm. This is a great year for socializing, meeting friends old and new. So if you've been in balance this year, a lot of that would make sense to you. They're the sort of things you would have been doing this year. Okay. So when you've got somebody who comes to you, I think you're a practitioner in some.
Well, I've been certified and I do my own stuff, but I'm not. I actually work in corporate world, but but yes.
What I say to the other two ladies, when people come to you, rather than say to them, "What's wrong? Where's your problems? How did it start? Where did it come from?" You can start with this. You can give them their life path number. You can give a positive paragraph from the book, what their life path number means. You can give them their personal year, like I just told you then. And you can tell them what their zodiac sign is. So you can give them 3 positives messages straight away off the bat without having to go into all that, what's wrong with you? You see what I mean? It's a much better way to get whatever it is you want to get to, and get them balancing on that so they feel better about themselves. So that's what I like that's what I like to start with. So if any of that rang true for you for your personal year, that means that you were in balance this last year. You're starting your year 4. You'll find out what that is by looking in the book when you get one. Okay. There you go. So we've been talking about that, and we're talking about how the labyrinth helps. Same thing as well. it's a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. That's great to give a couple examples of that. There's just so much more to it, but maybe we can do this again, Ellen, and just
I'd love to.
yeah,
I'm beginning to enjoy this now.
We'll set it up and then you just do, go wherever. But well, that was good, you guys popping in. It gives a sense, an idea where we can go, and then it's called thebalanceprocedure.com, and he's got all his website there, very inexpensive. And powerful. That's what we want. And that's what I appreciated. I remember Jenny saying in somewhere, maybe it was in the class, I can't remember where. And because I did Toronto Conservatory when I was very little, she said that she would teach the students, like kids, and get them in balance before they took these exams. And I just thought, what a great thing to do, to be working with kids.
I've been trying. I'm an exam invigilator at my local school, and I brought the book and cards into the headmistress, and I was balancing her up in her office. But
wow, if you're allowed to do that,
what happens is that the next level up is the problem. When they have their own way of doing things, and anything new, they're very, very reluctant to let you in. But she liked it. And we've done plenty of schools.
Well, lots of possibilities. So I'm going to end this, and it's again, Ellen Cox, thebalanceprocedure.com. And thank you for coming on. We'll set up another time here. That was
I love
fun.
it. I'm really beginning to enjoy this sort of thing now.
Good.
It's something I've fought against for a long time, but I'm really glad you got hold of me, and I'm thoroughly enjoying myself this evening.
Well,
thanks very much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this labyrinth.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. Lovely to meet you. It's lovely to meet you all.
Okay. I'm just going to stop this for 1 sec here. Okay.